Imagine you were back in 2017. Was there something you wanted to do that's always was stuck in your mind? Like, oh, I don't know, maybe you thought you're gonna sign up for that class, try to learn how to do that thing, maybe try to draw some art, learn how to write. Maybe you're trying to do something that you piques your interest. Well, brother, while you were thinking about doing it, I did it. I wrote a story! I wrote a story back in 2017. Yeah, I wrote this when I was 15. And I don't remember it. I was just going through my Google Drive one day and I saw this story, Age of the Dead, pop up. And I mean, I remember I wrote stories back in when I was 15. I didn't remember this one. So maybe if you like me going through this, I'll do more. But let us do the story of Age of the Dead. Now, like a good sports, I made sure to put in a chapter index on the second page. I didn't insert. I know there was like an insert table of contents, and you could put in the chapters or whatever. I didn't know how to do that, so I just straight up typed in the chapters and then the pages they started on. So here we go. Chapter 1. A new day. It all started on a good day. Peter was leaving prison, about to see his family. He got his things and spoke to his cellmate. "I'm gonna miss you, Peter." Peter replied. "I'm gonna miss you too, Brick." Brick said as he patted Peter's shoulder. "Tell your family I said hi." Alright, so there's some problems here already. "I'm gonna miss you, Peter," Peter replied. As in, this is what Peter replied. He replied saying, "I'm going to miss you, Peter." "I'm going to miss you too, Brick," Brick said as he patted Peter's shoulder. That, again, implies that the subject, Brick, is patting Peter's shoulder as he's saying, "I'm going to miss you too, Brick." So already, a few sentences in, we're not even through the first paragraph on the chapter, and already I'm fucking up the writing. "You know what? The second I get out of here, we gotta head to a bar." Peter replied, "I'm down for that." Peter hugged his friend and left the prison to see his family. He got in a car and was being taken to his house. However, the car stopped moving. So, any new aspiring writer, add descriptives. I did not add descriptives. The way I wrote this implies that he is exiting the prison and his family is like right there, right there waiting for him, or at least they're at home. Right? There's like two ways that can go. And then he got in a car and was being taken to his house. That sentence implies he is in a car and a guy is driving him there. So, I guess the officer is taking him to his house, which I guess I don't know why I wrote that. I don't know why I said that. I don't think that's really normal. However, the car stopped moving, so this is implying he got in a car and he drove out. This could, they became driving for God knows how long. It could have been minutes, seconds, hours, fucking days. You don't know, but just know that at some point this fucker stopped moving. Peter was concerned. He saw that the road was blocked and he couldn't see a crash or something wrong. Okay, so he was concerned and saw that the road was blocked. He saw people running and screaming. Okay, so I said he couldn't see a crash or something wrong. Yet immediately after I say he saw people running and screaming. So something is clearly wrong. The officer turned on his sirens and drove the car around to see if he can find out what's going on and how to fix it. I'm pretty sure, again, remove that and how to fix it. You can imply that that's what he's going to do. He eventually found the problem. The officer got out of his car to see someone eating another person, and from the looks of it, alive. Peter was watching as the officer ordered her to stop. When it showed her face, they saw something off. She looked dead. She got up and the officer pulled out his gun. He was about to shoot her as she walked closer to her. Okay, so she got up and the officer pulled out his gun. The officer pulled out his gun, his implying masculine, he's a man, and was about to shoot her as she walked closer to her. So, I guess in the span of him pulling out his gun and the zombie getting closer, he transitioned from male to female. But then immediately transitioned back because it says here, but he saw that more of them were coming. Immediately after that, somehow Peter saw the officer being eaten alive. Fearing that he would be next, he found some spare keys and started the car. So again, this is we've established in this story, this is a police vehicle. So he found some spare keys in a police vehicle. He ran over the things and got out of the car to save the officer. He found the officer shredded and dead. He took his things and got back in the car to look for his family. A lot has happened in just those few sentences. He turned on the radio to find out what was going on. It said that these things are eating everyone and people are running away. He thought it was obvious. This is... I'm such a bad fucking writer. Brother, I'm awful. He got to his house only to find that there are some of those things everywhere. He shot them down only to find that his son is one of them. I couldn't say only to find that one of them is his son because that'd be like more smooth. He pointed his gun at his son and pulled the trigger. Weeping, and Peter checked the house for supplies and saw that his wife had her guts out on the floor. He was crying until he heard a noise from his wife. He saw her head moving and trying to bite him. He shot her in the head and saw how it grew quickly. He grabbed some food and medicine and left the house to find weapons. So here Peter's a fucking psychopath. He sees that his son's a zombie, and then he points his gun and pulls the trigger, and then he proceeds to weep. And after he starts weeping, he checks the house for supplies. Like, he just insta does it. There's no like moment of brevity, no moment of like, oh fuck, I just shot my son. I just did this horrible act. I killed my baby boy. I know he was like a monster, but he was a baby boy. So his plan, I'm going to summarize these paragraphs quickly. He would head back to the prison, try to stay there. So his plan is to go to the prison to stay there because it has guns, it has people you could trust, prisoners. Criminals are people you could trust, clearly. It has food, medicine, and has fences. Yes, it might have guns. It's got guns, yeah. People you could trust. I don't know about that one. Maybe because he is also a prisoner, but at the same time, like, even if, like, I don't think that one's also that reliable. Food? You could, I guess, yeah, if you want to, and I guess in a dire situation, you can call that schlop food. Medicine, I guess. I don't know too much about the prison healthcare. I doubt it's the best. Maybe it is. I don't know. He went to a supply store, which I don't know why. He listed off I listed here that there's a lot of reasons why he would just go straight for the prison. He went to the supply store and saw that tons of people were in it. In the rush, he was able to grab 4 guns with spare ammo, a machete, a bat, a pair of wire cutters, and some food. Why grab the guns and food? There's guns and food at the prison. We've already established that. He then started his drive to the prison. On his way, he stopped to get some gas and he met a small group of 3 brothers, 2 sisters, and their baby brother. Who the hell are you? Said the eldest, pointing his M9 at Peter. Look at me, I'm getting very specific. Peter answered, my name is Peter, and I'm getting some gas so I could head to a prison. One of the sisters said, why would you go there? Peter answered, safety. The other sisters said that they should go with him. The group fought until they all decided they should go to the prison. Great job, young me. Great job. Peter took his car while the group took theirs. They finally got to the prison where one of the guards said, what are you doing here? Peter kind of said, we want to stay in that prison until this whole thing blows over. The prisoner guards let Peter and the group in. Of course they do. Peter gave them supplies as gift of thanks and went with the group. He talked with Gary, the second brother of the group. What's your baby brother's name? Gary answered, his name is Joe, after my granddad. Peter asked about their names. So now he's asking about their names. So, in order of oldest, there's Terry, me, Jessica, Toby, Kelly, and Joe. We lost our parents to those things when we were leaving. Is this just fucking high school to dead? Peter was walking when he saw Brick alive and well. Looks like you got back in here again. Peter replied, I'm glad those things didn't get you. Brick asked, where's Tara and Kyle? I'm guessing that's the wife and kid who barely got time. Peter answered, they died. Those things got him. Brick hugged Peter in comfort. I don't think he needs to. Peter seems like a fucking psychopath to begin with. Peter found his room in a cell, and he thought he'd never be happy to see a cell door again. He got in his bed, put his gun close to him, and went to sleep, hoping that whatever's going on will end. So, chapter 1, pretty bad. Now, chapter 2, 2 months later, there's a time jump. 2 months have passed since the first day of the infection, and things have been well for the group at the prison. They've made a farm, they've made good supply runs, and they do well against the infected. Peter, now leader of the group, is trying to make sure that they have a chance of survival. Of course, Peter's not the leader of the group. Of course he is. Not anyone else. Not the guards, not the warden, not anyone else there. It's Peter. Peter wants to contact the military to get him and the group out of here. He sees Brick and Gary farming. How are those crops, Gary? Gary looked at Peter and answered, they're pretty good. Peter went to see that Terry's small group came back with supplies. Peter has bonded with Gary's family in a good way. He tells everyone about his plan to inform the government that there are survivors at the prison. They think it's a great idea. Peter finds out that the government isn't doing any evacs near them. He decides it's best that a small group leaves the prison and try to find a way to communicate the government and tell them that there are survivors at the prison. Peter goes with Gary, Brick, Toby, and Jessica. They packed up, said their goodbyes, and left the prison, knowing that they are those people's last hope. I wonder, I kind of realized, I wonder how, because a lot of my views were different back then to now. So I'm wondering how that's going to reflect. I don't think I was very pro-government, like, I wasn't, like, the most pro-government person at that point. But I'm wondering if, because if I rewrote this, I would just said, fuck the government. They're not going to do shit. Maybe this one is going to get to that too. Who knows? Peter thinks that they should head to an old quarantine facility and contact the government from there. He takes the group and heads there. Once they arrive, no tension. They have no interruptions getting from there to the old quarantine facility. It's practically just like next door. Peter talks to them. Alright, this place has infected in it, so be careful and watch your step. They all enter the facility and looking for a radio of some sort that can contact the military. Peter saw some questions and said to this group, pair up. I don't want one man alone. Rick went with Peter and Gary stuck with his family. I'm sorry, Gary sticked with his family. He didn't stuck with his family. Gary, Toby, and Jessica were walking down the hallway when Toby heard a noise. He heard someone crying. He informed his group, guys, do you hear that? Gary responded, yeah, sounds like a baby. Jessica replied to Gary, we can't just left him here. We can't just left him or here or her. We can't just left him or her here. We can't just leave him or her, but also we can't just left him or her here. Not here. Here. There could be infected near the baby. Gary argued we should wait for Peter and Brick. Toby replied, screw that! I'm going to get the baby. Toby's about to go to the crying noise, but Gary stopped him. Look, if you're getting that child, you're sure as hell not going alone. Gary told Jessica to tell Peter that Gary and Toby went to save the baby. Gary and Toby went to find the baby. So, hold on. Let me figure this shit out. So, we've established Peter thinks that they should not be alone. The leader thinks no one person should be alone. Toby wants to go run for the baby, but Gary's like, no, that's stupid. We can't go alone. Jessica, go find Peter alone. Meanwhile, Peter and Brick search some of the corpses. They searched some of the corpses. I didn't say the, I said some of. And started talking. Hey, Peter. Peter replied, yeah, Brick. Brick asked, remember when you stole that car? Peter answered, yep, I wanted it and I stole it for 5 minutes, then the cops got me. They kept trying until they got the radio. Yeah, don't worry. You're not going to hear what they're talking about. You're not going to hear any of that character development stuff. That's boring. We wanted to get to the zombies, right? They're about to leave when they saw Jessica running to them. Where's Gary and Toby? Jessica answered. They are crying from a baby and they're trying to save it. Peter replied, let's go help them. Brick, go to the car with the radio. I want you to drive out of here. This all goes to hell. Brick replied, I'm not leaving here. Peter said, I'm not asking. Brick took the keys and the radio and headed to the car. Didn't Peter just say he doesn't want one man alone? Meanwhile, Gary and Toby found the baby. Hey, Gary, look. Gary turned and he saw the baby. It looked alive with no bites and no effects around it. Toby told Gary, watch my back. Gary replied, just grab him and go. Toby walked slowly to the baby as he heard a moaning noise to his left. Gary saw Peter and Jessica alive. You get the baby? Gary answered Peter, almost. Toby turned to his left and saw lights flickering and saw infected walking towards the baby. Toby ran to the baby, picked him up, and was about to run to Peter and the others, but he got bit on the arm. Still able to run, they all ran to the car where they drove out quickly. Then Peter amputated Toby's right arm to stop him from turning. Gary was holding pressure on the wound as Jessica was making sure that both Toby and the new baby were fine. So much shit just happened. This is like someone explaining the story on crack. Okay, so he sees a baby in the thing, right? And he sees like a noise to his left, like oh noise, and then he runs. He sees the lights flicker. There's a zombie. Oh, a zombie! He runs to the baby, he picks them up, and they run. But he gets to them, but he gets bit on the arm. But it's okay because they're still able to run. And they get to the car, and as they're driving, the main guy just like cuts the arm off. And he's not turning. Gary, he's just holding that pressure. Hold that pressure. Hold that pressure. There's no actual like, oh my god, I've been bit. When they got back, they rushed Toby to the medics, where they cleaned his arm, bandaged it, and gave him some blood. Peter held the baby and gave him to the doctor. They wait for a while until they find out the baby will live. Why is the baby in danger? There was no reason why the baby was in danger. We've established that the baby was fine. Why is it... whatever. Peter took the baby outside with Jessica, Brick, Terry, Helen, Peter's girlfriend. I now established Peter has a new girlfriend named Helen. Good job. And Kyle, a newcomer who's dating Jessica, and showed the baby to them. Terry asked, "What are naming him?" What are naming him? God, Jesus Christ. Gary answered jokingly, "How about little ass kicker?" They all laughed. That's another fuck. That's the Walking Dead jar right there. That's what Daryl calls Judith.
You like that? Huh? Little ass kicker?
Peter thought they should name him John. Gary then had an idea. How about John Little Ass Kicker? Except that John be his real name and Little Ass Kicker would be his nickname. I guess now he's officially called Little Ass Kicker. AMC, don't sue me. I didn't sell this story. I didn't actually call him Little Ass Kicker. Next day, Peter decided that they should get some baby food. Gary got his gear and went with Terry. Gary said to the group, "Don't worry, we'll save Little Ass Kicker." I'm really trying to hammer it home. They knew that Gary really liked that name. Gary and Terry got in the car and drove to a supply store to find baby food. Once they got there, Gary saw that they had some baby milk left. I'm just gonna do some quick math very quickly. I don't know too much about baby milk, but I'm gonna make a guess. That shit is probably expired. Alright, so according to Reddit, don't do baby formula. It's not a lot, Gary. Gary said that they'll find more. Terry searched the background to find food and saw that there was a group of survivors there. Pointing their guns, they ordered Gary and Terry to leave the baby food and never come back. Gary and Terry returned to the prison where they gave the baby food to Kyle. Gary said that they found a group there that has more food. Peter said they're about to kill those people and take what's left for both the baby and the crew. So Peter's now full-on fucking villain. I mean, Peter ought to be a fucking psychopath. I don't know if this is an important moment for his character, that he's more deranged, but I should, like, he just found out there's another group out there and said, "I'm gonna fucking kill those guys." Okay, now chapter 3, the raid. In chapter 3, it looks like it's only 2 paragraphs. Peter got the group ready to raid the store for what's left. Peter kissed Helen goodbye as they left for the raid. I'm just realizing that I named her Helen after Helen of Troy. Harry fired some rounds to the store, and Kyle went on the side to kill some of the bandits there. Peter killed some that were coming from the side. Brick got his sledgehammer. It was killing infected that were coming to the raid. Eventually the bandits all died as Terry helped Brick kill the infected that were pretty close. Brick said to Peter, "There's a horde of infected on their way here, so get the food fast." Peter ran in and told the group they got all the food there, including some more baby food for John, and left. Back at the prison, Peter finds out that the military won't be at the prison for another 3 months, given that they need the choppers to get everyone there and make room for them. The group gets worried until Peter reassures them. "We survived for 2 months, we can survive a bit longer." Peter prepares the group for 3 months of survival so they can all make it and get out of there. Peter started to go to sleep with Helen when she says, "Hey, you alright?" Peter said, "No, babe." Peter answered, "No, babe. Just worried." Helen reassures Peter, "I know you can get us out of here. I love you." Peter replied, "I love you too." They kiss and go to sleep. Now chapter 3, baby. Shortest chapter in history, I think. Now fucking, no, babe. No, babe, I'm good. Chapter 4, The Escape. It's time. It has been 3 months, and the government's on their way to the prison. I did not write... Nothing eventful happened for 3 months. Peter gets everyone up and tells them, "Pack your things. Today, we're getting the hell out of here." Peter got his things and saw as people were smiling, knowing that they don't have to be afraid anymore. He looked at John in his cradle and smiled. However, the fun was cut short as Peter looked to the right of John and saw infected. Getting his gun out, he ran to John and shot the infected. Gary and Toby ran to the gunfire and saw the now dead infected. "What the hell? I thought this place was safe," said Gary. Peter replied, "So did I. Grab John, there might be more coming." Toby said, "When is the government going to get here?" Brick ran down and warned the group that a huge herd is coming. Peter ran out to see the herd. What he saw was nothing like he saw before. Brick said, "I couldn't count, but there's got to be more than 500 of them coming this way." Peter said to Gary, Toby, and Brick, "Go down there and warn everyone of that horde. I don't a single person to die. Not today." They all ran down as some infected had already entered the prison. Peter saves Kyle from one and Helen from another. He grabs Helen and tells her, "Go to the roof." Helen says, "I'm not leaving you." Peter replies, "Go, I'll be there, go!" And Peter runs to right to help the others. Helen gets up on the roof and saw a M4A1 near Gary. She ran to him and asked, "Mind if I borrow this, Gary?" Gary answers, "Peter's down there, isn't he?" Ellen answers, "Yes." Gary said immediately, "Help Peter and happy shooting." He gives her the gun and she runs to an edge, looking for people who need help. Meanwhile, Peter finds Toby fighting off some infected and helps him. They're both bossed and about to die, but Helen, with the help of Gary, shoot down the infected near them. Gary runs down to Peter and Toby to check on them. Toby said, "You have one hell of a chick." Peter replied, "Thanks." Toby says, You get out of here." Peter replied, "No, I'm not leaving you here to die when you have a chance to survive." Toby revealed that he got bit on the shoulder. Oh no. Gary sobs and says, No, not you. Not you, Tobe. Not you. Toby said to Peter, "Watch over my family, Peter." Peter nods and sobs. He grabs Gary's arm, but Gary tries to run to Toby. Gary and Peter go up. Gary saw that Jessica, Kyle, Terry, Joe, Hank, a prison guard, and John were there. Gary ran to the edge where Toby was and saw him get surrounded by infected and eventually devoured. He then screamed with his head to the sky, "No!" Because of course he did. Gary looked at Terry and noticed that Kelly wasn't there. Did I mention Kelly before? Okay, I did mention Kelly. Kelly has not mattered in this story for a while. I legit forgot Kelly existed. I'm currently reading the story. Where's Carrie, Telly? I'm losing my mind. Where's Kelly, Where's Kelly, Terry? Terry answered, "She's over there." He pointed to another edge on the roof, and Gary saw Kelly. Gary smiled and shouted, "Kelly!" She turned only to reveal that she turned into an infected. Gary attempts to jump, but is stopped by Terry, Peter, and Brick. Gary is having a bad day. Brick said to Gary, "There's nothing we could do." Gary kept on saying to them, "Kill me. Kill me, Peter. I saw both my siblings die, and I'm gonna join them." Peter tries to calm Gary. I know how I feel. Gary then said, "Jesus Christ, I was pouring my heart and soul for this one. You guys probably know how I fucking feel. You have a girl, you have your friend, I've lost my father and my mother, Toby, and now Kelly. I could have saved them, Peter. You could have saved your son and your ex-wife." What the fuck? "You had no other way. I could have pushed the infected off my father. Hell, I could have grabbed a knife and killed the fuck before he did anything. I could have saved my mother, could have been down there with Toby, I could have saved Kelly, I could have done something." This is shit that would have been good to know, probably earlier. Brits knocks Gary out. Just then, the government came and told them to get on board. Peter counts how many of his people are left. He found out that out of the 63 people that were there, only 10 left. Jesus Christ. I fucking hated people like that. I really wanted people to die. They boarded the chopper, and in the helicopter, Peter looks over the prison and saw that there was no other way out. That's cool. Went on a bloodbath with that one. Killed two main characters, fucking Pollux, and I replaced them with Hank, a character who straight up did not exist until this chapter.
Please, Senor Sente! Please!
So I'm gonna stop here because I am 44 minutes in, and I don't think I want to just keep going forever. But if you want me to, but I do plan on doing a part 2 to this. If you like it, that is also. And if you like it, I might even read more stories because fuck knows I got plenty. If you like this video, you know what to do. Let me know if you want me to read more of my cringe ass stories. Adios.